May 27, 2025. You open Netflix and freeze. A profile named Santiago sits next to your kids' avatars. Your continue watching is packed with telenovelas you've never seen. Then you blink. Your screen locks. A flood of reset emails buries your phone. And your $15 a month subscription is gone. Sold on Telegram for $1. And you're not the only victim. Thousands of stolen logins are sold every hour. So how did a $1 bargain turn into a billion-dollar black market? And could your account be the next? It started as a rumor in online forums and group chats. Netflix had begun locking out freeloaders, urging users to pay or get off the couch. Frustration surged. Then, almost like a provocation, screenshots appeared. Someone had bought a premium 4K Netflix login for just $1. And it worked. Word spread like wildfire. But one line in those chats chilled even veteran hackers. Inventory auto refills every hour. Guess how? They promised lifetime Ultra HD streaming at absurd prices, and everyone asked the same thing. Where were these miracle logins coming from, and how long would they last before Netflix slammed the door? Skeptical customers tested them, and many found the logins did exactly what was promised. It felt like beating the system. Why pay $15.49 a month when a one-time dollar opened the same door? But behind every miraculous deal is a catch. Some buyers noticed odd things. Profiles already set up under strange names, viewing histories filled with shows they'd never watched. The truth was soon undeniable. These weren't special discount accounts at all. They belonged to real paying subscribers who had no idea strangers were piggybacking on their plans. A $1 Netflix account was usually a hacked or stolen login. And as Netflix's crackdown pushed casual password sharers to the sidelines, a new market of desperate binge watchers became willing customers for these stolen credentials. The demand was there, and the cybercriminals were more than happy to supply an endless stash of cut-rate accounts. This sudden flood of cheap Netflix logins was shocking, but it wasn't exactly new. In fact, the seeds of this scam were planted years ago, lurking in the internet's dark corners. How did a 50-cent hack from the past explode into mainstream awareness now? And who's really stocking the shelves? Long before Telegram peddled dollar deals, stolen Netflix accounts were a hot commodity in hidden marketplaces. Back in 2015, cybersecurity analysts at McAfee noticed something startling on the dark web. Buried in deep web forums were offers to access Netflix for life at prices as low as $0.50, cheaper than a gumball. It wasn't just Netflix either. Hackers were hunting lifetime access to streaming platforms like HBO and Spotify for pocket change. Buyers in these shady bazaars would pay via untraceable cryptocurrency, and in return, sellers provide login details to someone else's account. Often, they even threw in a promise. If the account stops working, we replace it for free. The marketplaces ran like outlaw businesses, some complete with customer support chat and refund policies for dead accounts. How could they afford such guarantees? Simple. These sellers weren't paying for the service at all. They obtained stolen usernames, passwords, or payment info in bulk from the booming black market of hacked data. Every time a major breach spilled user credentials online, hackers would test those email password combos on Netflix. A percentage would unlock accounts where the owner reused a password. Bingo! Free Netflix to resell. Other times, they'd use phony phishing emails or malware to directly steal someone's Netflix login. It was easy money and virtually risk-free. Many account owners didn't even notice strangers taking a lift on their subscription. Those who did often just changed their password, unaware their old credentials would quietly be sold to the next buyer in line. There was a perverse honor among thieves. If you paid for a stolen account, you expected it to last. Forums had ratings and reviews. Sellers who delivered working logins got repeat business. Those who scammed got bad reputations. In a twisted sense, it was customer service built on crime. All this was happening in the shadows, mostly out of sight for the average person. But that was about to change. As streaming exploded in popularity, so did the scale of this illicit trade, setting the stage for the rise of a criminal superstore. One so slick, the FBI nicknamed it Cookie Monster. Ready to meet Genesis Market? By the late 2010s, isolated hackers selling a few passwords had given way to full-blown cybercrime superstores. The most infamous was Genesis Market, a one-stop shop for all your stolen data needs. Before its dramatic takedown in 2023, Genesis had an almost mythical status among cybercriminals. It wasn't hiding in some dark web alley. It even operated on the regular internet with an invite code and some Bitcoin, and had a slick, professional interface. What made Genesis Market so special? In a word, scale. It hosted around 80 million stolen account credentials and digital fingerprints from over 2 million victims. Among those were untold thousands of Netflix logins, bundled with something extra: the victim's browser cookies and device data. Buying a Netflix credential on Genesis wasn't just getting a password. You could download a whole browser profile that made you look exactly like the legitimate user. To Netflix's systems, it would seem as if the real subscriber just logged in from another device, bypassing security like multi-factor authentication in many cases. On Genesis, criminals could shop for these bots, compromised device profiles, for as little as $70 each, though premium ones fetched hundreds of dollars if they included banking or crypto accounts. It was the Walmart of stolen logins, dirt-cheap goods in massive volume. And Netflix accounts were just a small fraction of what was for sale. Still, for our $1 Netflix saga, Genesis was pivotal. It lowered the barrier for entry. Any low-level crook could walk in with a few bucks and leave with a pile of working accounts. No need to phish or hack people yourself. Genesis delivered fresh victims on demand. It even offered a custom browser plugin to import the stolen fingerprints, making it brain-dead simple to assume a victim's identity online. Could law enforcement flip that into a trap? For years, Genesis Market flourished, relatively unchecked. That is, until global authorities decided enough was enough. In April 2023, a coordinated strike dubbed Operation Cookie Monster brought the hammer down. With a dramatic seizure banner plastered on its homepage and over 100 arrests worldwide, Genesis was officially toast. But when agents finally finished the Operation Cookie Monster, did they delete the problem, or just hit created one bigger? When Genesis Market fell, it made headlines around the globe. 17 countries' agencies, from the FBI to Europol, had teamed up to dismantle this criminal bazaar. For a moment, it felt like a major victory. One of the largest stolen credential hubs was knocked offline, its operators, at least some of them, in handcuffs. The message was clear: the free-for-all days of buying hacked accounts with impunity might be coming to an end. But in the bottom of the internet, the aftermath of a crackdown is often just chaos that opens new opportunities. Genesis's takedown left tens of thousands of cybercriminals suddenly locked out of their favorite marketplace. They didn't retire, they regrouped. Almost immediately, alternative platforms lit up to fill the void. On hacking forums like Cracked and Nulled, which were already notorious for trading stolen accounts, Genesis refugees set up shop. These forums operated like the Wild West of cybercrime. Anyone could register and start selling Netflix logins or any other hacked data to eager buyers. Both Cracked.io and Nulled had always been crawling with illicit activity, from leaked credentials for Netflix, Steam, even bank accounts to pirated software and hacking tutorials. Now, with Genesis gone, they became even more crucial hubs for credential vendors. At the same time, many sellers shifted to more nimble channels: Telegram auto shops. These were essentially bots and chat groups that could automatically verify payment and spit out stolen account credentials to buyers with no human oversight. Why Telegram? It's semi-anonymous, easy to create new channels if one gets banned, and, unlike a big website, much harder for law enforcement to seize. Investigators soon discovered mystery payments looping through a new bot, but where did that money lead? In fact, by late 2023, the number of cyber vendors dealing exclusively on Telegram was rising. Dedicated channels began mirroring what Genesis sold: Netflix logins, banking logins, you name it. Some even integrated payment bots. You send $1 in crypto or via a third-party payment link, and the Telegram bot instantly DMs you a fresh set of Netflix credentials. It's crime as a service, available 24/7 at your fingertips. Law enforcement hadn't exactly failed. They took down a giant, but the Hydra had grown new heads. By 2024, the $1 Netflix scam was more dispersed, harder to eradicate. Rather than one Genesis, there were dozens of mini Genesises operating in parallel. Private Telegram rings, invite-only forums, password trading communities on the dark web, even resurgence of older platforms. Ironically, Crack.io and Nulled to themselves would eventually get seized by the FBI in early 2025, showing that the crackdowns never stopped, but neither did the trade. The game of whack-a-mole was fully underway. And meanwhile, the machinery that enables this whole scam kept evolving, growing more sophisticated and efficient. By now, we know where the $1 accounts come from: stolen logins. But how are cybercriminals obtaining so many valid Netflix passwords? And who's solving CAPTCHAs faster than any robot can? Somewhere in a dim room, dozens of computer screens flicker in unison. A script is running, rapid-fire trying username and password pairs on Netflix's login page, thousands per minute. This is a credential stuffing bot at work, an automated tool that tests leaked logins from other breaches to see if people reuse them on Netflix. It's disturbingly effective. Hackers often use programs like OpenBullet, which can cycle through hundreds of thousands of credential combos and probe a site's defenses. One cybercriminal bragged that in just 48 seconds, his automated test of 427 stolen logins hit 8 valid Netflix accounts. Extrapolate that success rate, and with 160,000 credentials, you might crack 3,500 accounts in a blitz. That's 3,500 products to sell, harvested in under an hour by one bot. Netflix, of course, doesn't make it completely trivial. Try logging in repeatedly and you'll trigger CAPTCHAs and get IP blocked. But the hackers have answers for that too. They use swarms of proxy servers and infected machines around the world to funnel their attempts, so it's never too many tries from one place. And then there's the CAPTCHA problem. Those pesky "I am not a robot" tests. The solution? Ironically, to employ humans. A whole cottage industry exists where low-paid workers, often in developing countries, solve CAPTCHAs for pennies. These are literally CAPTCHA farms, a modern sweatshop where clicking checkboxes is a job. They earn around 0.75 per 1,000 CAPTCHAs solved, which means each puzzle costs the bot fractions of a cent to outsource. By the time Netflix's defenses say, "Prove you're human," the bot sends the image to a human solver who answers in seconds, and the credential stuffing continues unabated. The result is a conveyor belt of cracked accounts. Automated checkers goes through mountains of leaked passwords, identify the ones that unlock Netflix, and then feed those into databases ready for sale. Many of the Telegram auto shops are directly linked to these bot networks. They're updated in real time. If an account stops working, say the real owner changed the password or Netflix detected sharing, the system can mark it dead and replace it with a new stolen account from the ever-churning pipeline. But even an endless conveyor belt has an Achilles heel. Could Netflix shut it down at the source? Well, it's a volume business. Breach 1 million accounts elsewhere, get maybe 1% hits on Netflix, and you've got 10,000 premium logins to sell. At $1 each, that's 10K. Not a bad haul for essentially rerouting other people's streaming services. This machinery thrives on a vicious cycle. The more people reuse passwords across sites, the more credential lists get traded around, and the more bots can crack open accounts. And each time Netflix or law enforcement tries to block the abuse, the operators just refine their tools, or find fresh victims. In fighting off one kind of fraud, Netflix unwittingly feeds another. The stage is set for a never-ending battle between the streamers and the schemers. Which begs the question, who really pays the price for the $1 Netflix scam? On the surface, it might look like the losers in this game are Netflix or the Hollywood studios. After all, someone's watching without paying full price. And indeed, Netflix estimates that account sharing and fraud do chip away at its subscriber numbers. Crackdowns on password sharing in 2023 did drive a bump in legitimate subscriptions, proving many people will pay when forced. But each crackdown also pushed a subset of users into the arms of the black market. It's a classic unintended consequence. Tell people they can't share grandma's account anymore, and a few souls will rather spend $1 with a hacker than $15 with Netflix. Thus, the very policy meant to secure revenue opened a door for criminals to profit. Netflix, in turn, has to invest ever more in security and fraud detection. Those costs inevitably get baked into the price of your subscription. So if you're an honest customer who'd never dream of buying a $1 login, you might still feel the pinch, maybe in that extra dollar or two on your monthly bill down the line that helps cover fraud losses. There's also a less visible cost: the normalization of data theft. Every time someone casually buys a stolen account, they're propping up an economy that also trades in far worse things, like bank logins and identities. The $1 Netflix scam might seem harmless. It's just movies, right? But the same networks selling these accounts are entrenched in broader cybercrime. They're honing their tactics, strengthening their infrastructure, like those proxy botnets and CAPTCHA farms, and even funding larger operations with the proceeds. When the FBI seized Genesis Market, it removed millions of stolen credentials from circulation. Briefly. But those same displaced criminals simply redoubled their efforts to compromise new accounts and rebuild inventory. It's almost paradoxical. Kill one market and you create demand for the next one. Force a mass password reset, and you hand criminals a challenge they're eager to meet, because now a bunch of people will let their guard down once the news blows over. Like an arcade game of whack-a-mole, every mole whacked spawns 2 more in the next round. In the end, the $1 Netflix scam is more than just a few freeloaders sneaking into a streaming service. It's a window into a sprawling underground where our personal data is currency. It shows how swiftly cybercriminals adapt to changes in the real world, turning a policy change into a profit opportunity overnight. And it underscores that when technology and human greed intersect, even something as wholesome as movie night can become collateral damage.